Sadly, there is no cover page this time. We open up to Brawny Muscle of the Heavenly Ninja Party. After losing to Flashy Flash, he is bloodied and lying on his back. But he had to wonder why the ninja hero hadn't just killed him. He knew for sure that the man could have easily severed his head. Flashy Flash flashed his senior a little smile. He mentioned how even the smallest insect is said to possess a soul. In reality, he at the very least wanted them all to hear the truth about the village they all came from before dying. Something that even Speedo Sound Sonic was not aware of. So in this field of garbage, Flashy Flash told them all the unsavory truth about the origin of their training. Sonic was stunned with disbelief. The others were just as surprised by the mention of God. Flash's expression grew darker. He made it clear that they were all test subjects for the sake of creating minions of God similar to their founder, that man. It's why they were all members from such a young age. Their humanity had been taken as they were subjected to torturous training that pushed their utmost limits. At this point, Galewind and Hellfire Flame were just as taken aback by his claims. To back them up, Flashy Flash reminded Sonic of what they saw together underground all those years ago. Specifically about the cube that was being used to test the worthiness of would-be minions of God. Judging from the ominous pile of bones in the corner, it was clear that incompatibility meant death. Sonic and the others remained quiet, but now hung on every word. The village being a training ground for assassins was only a front. Ultimately, those of them that had been safely released as assassins were the furthest thing from elite. In the eyes of that man, they were all complete and utter failures. He mocked the very idea of them being so-called heavenly ninjas. They were merely played for fools and taken along for the ride. Their entire lives had been stolen from them. Sonic was still a bit skeptical about this revelation and wanted to know if Flash was totally sure. The S-Class hero just told him to go and ask Blast if he doesn't believe him. After all, the guy is actually around for a change. But before he could respond, they both heard a bit of chuckling. It was all of the Heavenly Ninja Party's members. They had huge grins on their faces and were all laughing. This only became creepier and creepier. Violent Force had a goofy smile on his face as he pointed out the whole stolen lives part. He believed the blonde hero to be a bit too presumptuous. After all, why would he assume that they weren't offered? Flashy Flash and Speedo Sound Sonic continued to listen. Violent Force wondered if Flash had really become so dissatisfied with the illusion of living his own life, a life that he selfishly kept in defiance of the village's teachings. In the end, he couldn't understand the thoughts of a dropout. Their bloody smiles became even more sinister. Violent Force proudly proclaimed that only by completing the tasks assigned to them could ninjas such as themselves find death. Regardless of who their master happened to be, what mattered was that they would gladly give their lives for them. They sought to clarify how blessed they are to these lowly outliers who have clearly forgotten the sworn duty of a ninja. The laughter continued as crows flew overhead. They began to speak of themselves as blessed in a chanting manner. Flashy Flash's face exposed a bit of disappointment towards their responses. Sonic lifted his weapon and decided to just kill them since they were definitely beyond help. Even Galewind referred to them as robots. Just then, the body of Violent Force heaved to the point of his eyes practically leaving their sockets. They all began to horrifically convulse as if possessed. Flash and Sonic had no idea what was going on. Violent Force was happy. It was that man. He was certain that that man was finally making his grand entrance. Again, Flash and Sonic didn't understand at all. Their senior was sure that they would soon realize how much better it would have been for them to have been killed by the Heavenly Party. By eating the blood and organs of humans, that man would be totally born anew. There was absolutely no future ahead for any of his foes. The body of Violent Force continued to swell to a disgusting level as he called out to their master. If it was their blood and entrails that he desired, they would all happily oblige. Flash and Sonic could only look on in horror as blood jettisoned out of the man's eyes and mouth. All of the faithful S-Class criminals were sacrificed at the same time as their entrails and blood truly did escape. It was an absolutely chilling sight for both Sonic and Flash. The flesh moved upwards and congealed into one oversized collective organic mass of flesh. Soon, the massive glob began to invert itself. Not long after, a figure could be seen taking it all in. He had been brought back after so many years thanks to their deaths. The resulting creature descended before the two dumbfounded traitors. That man, Empty Void, has finally returned. And now that he's here, I have no idea what Saitama and Blast could possibly be doing. They split up with Flashy Flash to go face this guy. Or more specifically, the Heavenly Ninja Party, but they're all gone now. Regardless, this fight should prove to us once and for all who the strongest ninja in One Punch Man is. Considering his new body was made out of almost 20 S-class level ninjas, his status as Blast's former partner, and the fact that he's been empowered by God, Empty Void should definitely be a challenge. Not to mention that Blast wants him to be taken down alive for the sake of turning him back into a human. I'm expecting this guy to at least be Platinum S level. What do you think? As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.